an interview with one of the most notable figures in Houston theater.
A great number from a cutting-edge musical.
And Harley makes a deal with the devil.
It's all coming up on this month's Houston Theater Beat.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's Houston Theater Beat. I'm your host, John Lazo, and I'd also like to introduce my very special guest host for this month, Holly Grice. Holly, welcome to Houston Theater Beat. Thank you very much for guest hosting.
Thank you so much for having me, John.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's nice to have some help up here for a change this month. It's great to have you on the show.
Anytime, thank you.
We have a jam-packed show to start out 2014. First, in our backstage segment, I'll be talking with one of the great talents in Houston theater, Leighza Walker, who will be discussing acting, directing, writing, and some very exciting projects that she has coming up.
Then, in our in-performance segment, I'll be paying a visit to Standing Room Only Productions and hear a great number from their upcoming production of Next to Normal, which opens on January 23rd at Obsidian Art Space.
And finally, our clown prince, Harley, takes on a serious drama with a look at Classical Theater Company's production of Dr. Faustus in this month's Harley's Hot Ticket. So let's get started. Hi everybody. I'm here at Midtown Arts Center on the set of Hunter-Gatherers, and I'm very happy to be joined by my very special guest this month. She is a very familiar face in the Houston theater community and one of its cornerstones. I'm being joined today by Ms. Leighza Walker. Leighza, thank you so much for being on HTB.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you as our guest this month on HTB. I've been really wanting to have you on the show because the Houston, for two reasons. Number one, we've had a couple of chances to work together, and I love your work. I admire the stuff you do so much, number one. And number two, the Houston Theater Beat audience is always really interested in people who are very much in a part of the behind the scenes of the Houston theater community, and that certainly describes you. Can you share with the Houston Theater Beat audience your background? I always love the question, how did you get interested in theater? Because everybody's answer is always so interesting.
I didn't have a choice. My family started doing community theater when I was 7 years old. And my mother and my father both were actors and directors and did tech and everything from curtain pulling to building the set to being on stage. And that was our social life. Like some people go to church 3, 4, 5 nights a week. We were at the theater just that often from the time I was 7 until I was an adult, and obviously I continued to do it.
Absolutely, good. So it was a family affair.
Yes, absolutely.
Got you
and
started.
everyone that I grew up with, all the adults that I grew up with, were all theater people. So I always say that that's my excuse for who I am.
Right.
That my boundaries are different because I grew up in theater people, with theater people, and that it's one step up from being raised by gorillas.
Right. it's true. I think all of us involved with the theater would say that. It's true. It's true. Share with the audience the enterprises that you've been involved with here in Houston. The Houston Theater Beat audience, in all likelihood, has either seen you or seen a production that you've been involved with, which is great. You've been behind organizations such as Obsidian Art Space, Cabal Productions. Tell the audience a little bit about the things that you've worked on here.
Well, I took a break from theater when I had my kids, and one day I realized how much I missed it, and I went and auditioned for a show at Country Playhouse, and I was cast in that production and met my business partner, Tom Stell, and we were very close friends for a while and decided to open our own theater, and that became Obsidian, and it was successful beyond our expectations.
Sure.
We took an old building that had wide open space and turned it into an 85-seat black box, and it is within about 6 months, it became one of the first choices for the traveling theater companies in this town. We also created our resident theater company, Big Head Productions, and I think Big Head became very well known for our short play showcases, which were all originals. They were all world premiere originals and gave new playwrights an opportunity to have their work produced in a professional format.
Right.
And I'm very, very proud of our short play showcases. Then we also tried as best we could to produce almost exclusively full-length original plays at all, and that continues to be my focus. I started playwriting about a year before I opened Obsidian, and I went to see a 10 by 10, which is a Scriptwriters Houston event that everyone knows about.
Sure.
And one of the plays written by Elizabeth Keel was so inspiring to me that I went home and I thought, I can do that.
Right.
And the next year, one of my plays was selected for the 10 by 10. And I've been a writer my entire life, but I had never even considered writing for the stage. So it was a really fun new thing, but I think when that happened, all of my writing cogs fell into place, and
Sure.
I realized that was my genre.
Right.
The genre I felt most comfortable with.
You received the award for the one of the 100.
Yes, I was
remember what it
selected
is,
as
best.
the 100 Creatives by the Houston Press.
Right.
Yes.
100 creatives. Great honor.
It was a huge honor, and I was so excited. I had hoped that I would be selected, just like every artist in town, hopes that they will be,
Sure.
that we'll get some kind of nod in our direction, because all of us are working so hard all the time.
Sure.
Because we're drawn to this, and this is our entire lives for many people. Even if you have a full-time job, but theater, if you're a theater person, then or an artist, that to have any kind of acknowledgement at all is so exciting.
Absolutely.
And when I was notified that I was selected as one of the 100 creatives in Houston, that is a giant honor.
It
and
is.
I tap danced on my porch, and
Right.
I called all my friends, and the article itself I have framed on my wall. It's so difficult in this business to get that kind of public acknowledgement.
Sure.
And when it happens, I treasure it.
Great. Well, congratulations on that. You've done a lot of directing too. How do you approach a show as a director?
Once again, with no preparation.
Right.
I know directors who would be appalled at how little preparation. There are amazing directors in this town and everywhere who show up at their first rehearsal and they have all their blocking written down.
Sure.
I'm a very organic director. I have read the script by the time we have our first rehearsals, obviously. But other than that, I kind of want to discover it as the actors do.
Sure.
And the whole point, the whole purpose of a director is to see from the outside and to make sure that the picture that is being created makes sense. And I also to hear the dialogue. Since you're not speaking it, you hear it in a different way, and you're not interacting with other actors. So as a director, my favorite thing is to find the things in the script that sometimes the playwright didn't even realize, and I call it circles. There might be a line in Act 1, Scene 1 that is repeated in the final scene of the show that maybe, and I've worked with playwrights who did not see the circles in their own work that I found, and they were very excited to know that they did that without even thinking
Sure.
about it.
Do you prefer, because I'm going to lead into questions about acting, because I know it's also one of your passions. Do you prefer directing or acting?
If you had asked me 5 years ago that question, I didn't start directing until 4 years ago. If you had asked me that question prior to that, if someone said you can pick one thing, I would have said acting in a heartbeat.
Right.
I would say directing now.
Right.
I love directing. I miss being on stage when I direct for a long time. There's sometimes a year goes by where I'm
Sure.
not on stage at all, or I might pick up a small role in a short play. But I adore directing. As a control freak, you're in charge of everything.
Right.
Even the way someone crooks a finger sometimes is up to
Right.
you. And exploring with people and discovering the script with people, and collaboration is a huge energy boost to me.
Right.
To have an actor say, "How about this?" and it start bouncing off of each other, it
Sure.
is so much fun, and I would absolutely pick directing.
Absolutely. Me too, and it's one of those hidden pleasures. Sometimes we don't like to admit that we really do like directing, but it is a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot
Okay.
because we're talking about acting.
Okay.
Because I always like to ask people this: your favorite acting role, or I'll let you have 2 or 3 if you can't pick one. Because I
can pick one,
As I told our friend Brian Heaton, who I interviewed a couple of months ago, I would be hard pressed to come up with just one myself.
Yes.
So your favorite acting roles that you've done?
My very favorite role was Tess in 13 Miles from Security, which was written by Kathy Drum.
Right.
We world premiered it at Obsidian Art Space. Big Head Productions produced it. It was when Kathy sent me that play. She and I were just chatting about playwriting. She said, "Oh, I have this old play that's been in a drawer for 10 years or so. If you'd like to read it." And I read it, and I fell in love with Tess, and I knew I had to play her.
Right.
And we produced it to sold-out audiences. It's a brilliant piece of work, and I have never stepped so easily into a character in my life as I did into Tess. I felt like she was what my friend Melanie always calls an old comfy t-shirt.
Sure.
And I felt like I just slipped her on that easily.
Absolutely.
It was a joy to play her.
Great. Tell the audience a little bit about, you were sharing with me when we were talking before the interview, you have a new project that you're engaged in called the Security Project, which sounds fascinating to me, and it's really, I think, going to be an important thing that's coming up that you're working on. Tell the Houston Theater Beat audience a little bit about the Security Project. What's involved with that?
I have I've struggled a lot financially over the last couple of years, and it occurred to me one day that if I just felt secure for 1 minute,
Sure.
What could I do as an artist? If I had a place that I could be, that I had food and shelter and a computer, and I didn't have to worry about any of my bills or anything, what would I be able to create as an artist? And it suddenly came together with this old idea that I had in my 20s when I was a hippie, of the whole commune idea. And I decided that over the next 2 years, I am going to purchase 10 to 20 acres of property in Cut and Shoot, Texas, probably.
Sure.
That's where I've narrowed it down. I'm looking at some property there now that's 10 acres
Sure.
with a creek running through it. And I'm going to create an artist residence program.
Wow.
I want it to be broad scope. It's not just going to be for writers. I want to be able to house visual artists of all scales. I want dancers, musicians, writers, actors, any art form that you can think of. I want to not only provide an efficiency size independent house, the reason I want a lot of acreage is so the houses can be spread out, so the artists can feel a little bit isolated.
Sure.
And I want to provide every single thing that they could possibly need.
That's amazing.
For visual artists, whatever medium that they need, I want to be able to provide it for them. All of their food, obviously, utilities and a roof over their head,
Sure.
and teachers. I'm going to call it next level teachers, mentors, people that they can sit down and talk to in a community that understands what it's like to be an artist.
Wow.
And I decided to call it Security for 2 reasons. One, because of what we talked about, that it would just be nice to feel safe.
Right.
And also because in 13 Miles from Security, the play by Kathy Drum, there's a line where Tess says, "I lived my whole life across the street from a sign that said Security 13 miles.
Right.
And the idea that security can be right that close to you, and you never get there, just breaks my heart.
Sure.
And I want to give as many artists as possible the blessing that I hope for myself, which is to be secure enough to create as giant a work as I want to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That certainly sounds like it would be of tremendous benefit to artists coming into the community. to work. Do you have an anticipated date when all of this is going to come to fruition?
I'm shooting for 2 years. So I am filing for my 501c3 next month. And that will be the beginning of starting to fundraise. And I think that I'm looking in the neighborhood of $500,000,
Sure.
which is not very much anymore.
True.
It is just not that much money.
Well, that's another reason why I wanted to have you on, and another reason why I admire your work, because you are, I think, like me, one of those people who tends to see the community from 50,000 feet, and to really have a genuine concern about where the theater community in Houston, because it's so lively and so vibrant, and where it's headed, and how to best support that. And that's fantastic that you're doing that. Congratulations on that project.
Thank you very
What
much.
we will do on Houston Theater Beat is we will follow Leighza and the security project in future. We'll come back and see how things are
Great.
going with
Yeah.
that, if that's
Yeah.
okay with you.
Yeah.
What's coming up theatrically? Hunter Gatherers is running right now. Do you have anything coming up after the first of the year?
My partner John Patterson and I are opening our own theater space, our own performance space.
Great.
We are hoping to be open in the next month-ish.
Okay.
You always have to say ish
Of
in
course,
the theater world.
right. And the
and in
HTV
Leighza-
audience
yeah.
is really comfortable with ish. They know that.
Yeah, Leighza Land depends on ish.
Right.
But he won't let me call it Leighza Land. But we're going to name the property when we find it.
Okay.
Our production company is going to be called Never Ever Endeavors.
Okay.
And we're very excited about it. I'm going to be the artistic director of the project.
So location and name of the new space
Coming up.
to be
Yes,
announced.
yeah.
Leighza, thank you so much for being my guest, and good luck with the security project.
Thank you.
Good luck with the theater stuff that's coming up. It's been an honor to have you as a guest this month. And as I told the audience, we will be following the things that you're involved in and seeing those things come to fruition. You're such an asset to the community. It's great to have you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And everybody stay tuned, because we're going to be back with more of the show in just a moment.
Art Space with SRO's upcoming musical production of Next to Normal. I have the director and two of the cast members here joining me today, and I want to thank you guys for coming out to talk about the show.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I have Michael Taylor here, who is the director of Next to Normal, along with Brad Zimmerman, who is playing Dan, and I have Miss Rachel Landon playing Diana. Thank you, guys. So from what I understand, Next to Normal is a multiple Tony Award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning musical, very cutting edge, and I was wondering, Michael, if you could share with the audience just an overview of what the show is about.
Certainly. Next to Normal deals with a family, modern-day family, that's dealing with bipolar disorder, and the show kind of just takes us from what happens to someone that has bipolar disorder, how it affects the family, how it affects some people that are outside the family, and the journey on to how to deal with it. We think it's going to hit a lot of folks out in the audience and maybe help them as well.
Most definitely, yes. It's definitely something we all can relate to. I think we've all known someone that deals with mental illness or struggles with it. Thank you so much, Michael. I understand, Brad, you're playing Dan, who is the lead, and Rachel's playing your wife, Diana, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about your character, and what's been your favorite part of the show and rehearsals so far?
Well, Dan is just trying to help keep his family together as he helps Diana deal with her illness. And if I have a favorite line, it's right near the beginning of the show when he sings "Living on a Latte and a Prayer." I mean, that kind of sets you up for what you're about ready to see. But as far as a whole cast-wide moment, the trio in the beginning, middle of the first act, "I Am the One" is just wonderful. It's just such a great piece of music.
Wonderful. I'm excited to see the show. Thank you very much. And Rachel, if you can tell us a little bit about Diana.
It's so interesting playing a character who is very different than me, but she is dealing with bipolar disorder. You kind of get the feeling that she was a very dynamic personality, and then for 16 years she's been dealing with the illness, and it's kind of developed in such a way where it's gotten worse and worse and worse, and when the show starts, you've got to a point where she's at her worst, and how the family deals with that. So Diana's character is, she's funny, she's dynamic, she's very emotionally connected, but she's having, of course, a very difficult time dealing with bipolar disorder.
Thank you guys so much for coming out to interview today. Sounds like a phenomenal, exciting show, and I'm so excited to come and see it. So guys, stay tuned. We are going to have a musical number from Next to Normal. It's called Just Another Day.
We're the perfect, loving family, so adoring, and I love them every day of every week. So my son's a little shit, my husband's boring, and my daughter, though a genius, is a freak. Still I help them love each other, father, mother, sister, brother, cheek to cheek. And Harley, it's 4 in the morning, is everything okay?
Everything's great. Why wouldn't it be great? It's great. I just have 3 more chapters of calculus, a history problem set, a physics quiz, and 2 pages of floor imagery from Flowers of Algernon, which is like, duh. Everything's so under control. It's calm.
Honey, just slow down. Take time for yourself. I'm going to go have sex with your father.
Great. Thanks. I'm so glad I know that. So it's times like these I wonder how I take it. And if other families live the way we do, if they love each other or if they just fake it, and if other daughters feel like I feel too. 'Cause some days I think I'm dying, but I'm really only trying to get through.
For just another day, for another stolen hour, and the world will feel my power and obey.
It's just another day,
Feeling like I'll live forever.
feeling like this feeling never goes away.
For just another day.
That was great, wasn't it? I mean, great. Christ, I'm late.
That'll teach you to take a whole 10 minutes.
Sorry, what?
I said, isn't it a beautiful day?
Sure, it's beautiful. I mean, it's cold and rainy and awfully horrible for September, but beautiful.
Makes you want to dive in with both feet, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Sometimes I have no idea what she's talking about. When it's up to you to hold your house together, a house you build with patience and with care, and you're grappling with that gray and rainy weather, and you're living on a tea and a prayer. Can you keep your cup from tipping? Can you keep the grip from slipping in despair? But it's another day in the hustle and the hurry. You want to wipe the worry clean away. Just another day.
I will keep the place all spinning with a smile so white and when you walk away.
'Cause what doesn't kill me doesn't kill me. So fill me up for just another day.
It only hurts when I'm near.
You're going to be late and you've got a huge day.
You have no idea what I do all day.
Jazz band before school, class key club, then football.
Not bad.
Get out of here. It only hurts when he goes.
Bum, bum, bum. Morning sunshine.
So I got to take my winter recital team. Thank you guys for that.
We'll put it on the calendar.
Mom, the calendar's still on April of last year.
Well, happy Easter, honey.
Happy Easter, Mom.
Hi, sweetheart.
She's on fire this morning.
Oh, no. Honey, can you go to the grocery shop
performance from the cast of Next to Normal. I want to thank you guys so much. Michael, if you could let the audience know the performance dates, information about the show, where they can buy tickets.
Sure, we'll be performing it at the Obsidian Art Space, which is in the Heights, from January 23rd to February 15th. You can find tickets at www.sro-productions.com, or you can find us on Facebook, and we'll get you tickets some way or another.
Great. Make sure you get your tickets early, guys. This show will sell out. Again, that's www.sro-productions.com. And I want to thank my guests again, Mr. Michael Taylor, the director of the show. We have Brad Zimmerman playing Dan and Miss Rachel Landon playing Diana. Thank you guys so much, and stay tuned for the remainder of our show.
Finds Harley in the mood for a drama, and what could fill the bill better than the upcoming production of Dr. Faustus at Classical Theater Company? A complex play exploring the complex nature of the relationship between man and God. The tragical history of Dr. Faustus follows the story of a doctor who, fed up with scholarly pursuits, sells his soul to the devil in exchange for 24 years of knowledge and power. With a demon at his beck and call, and the dark arts at his disposal, Faustus travels the world, satisfying his gluttonous need for power. His encounters with the likes of dragons, angels, Helen of Troy, and the 7 deadly sins leads to both humorous adventures and heartfelt problems of faith and morality. In the end, introspection does little to save the good doctor, and as his 24 years come to a close, the debt collector comes knocking. Classical theater is famous here in Houston for its magnificent presentations of some of the greatest classical scripts in theater history, and this production of Dr. Faustus will surely be no exception. Dr. Faustus is coming up at Barnevelder Movement Arts Complex, located at 2201 Preston, and runs from January 29th through February 16th. For information about Dr. Faustus, visit the Classical Theater website at www.classicaltheater.org. Well, that's all for this edition of Houston Theater Beat. On behalf of my guest host, Holly Grice, and myself, until next time, we'll see you at the show.